Hey everybody, happy Thursday. I hope everybody had a great week. It's been a while since I did a podcast on AB's World. I appreciate everybody listening to me and still supporting me. I haven't been making as much content as I would like to. It's been hectic around here. So now I'm back to doing what I do best, just speaking and trying to make a significant impact in the world by changing my life for the better, and hopefully I can inspire somebody to change theirs. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about today, faith over fear. There's so much going on in the world right now. We are living in pretty hectic and confusing and dark times. Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We don't always like to see the positivity that the darkness could actually bring us. If only we can change our mindset and use our brains to come up with solutions to solve the problems in the world, whether it's minor or a big problem, right? There's always solutions to problems. The thing is that people are greedy and they don't like to work together, right? We have to work together and come up with reasonable solutions to modern day issues, right? So I just wanted to let everyone know that I had an issue with my apartment, right? I had an issue. That's why I haven't been making content. And now I have to act. I gotta say, look, what is the best way to go around handling the situation? What makes sense? And I did what I thought was right. And I took a chance. And I said, look, sometimes you really have to go with your gut. You got to have faith that, you're making the right decision. Because if you're not going to make the right decision, the consequences can be costly, right? And sometimes it could lead you to being homeless or whatever the situation may be, right? We have to always think about the entire problem and the solution. You got to think, does this make sense? Ask yourself, does it make sense? If it makes sense, go ahead and try it. The worst thing that's going to happen is that it didn't work out. And so many people are so hesitant to try new things and opening their minds for the possibilities of, you know, good things happen when you literally manifest things that are great. Now I'm working on getting this apartment. Hopefully it works out. Not like I went around telling the entire world. Well, now, the people that are listening on my podcast, they know. So I really think that we have to literally take everything to consideration, right? You got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. All right, we have too much to lose. There's too much money on the table to lose. All right, too much stake here to lose. We have to literally put our thoughts in order to get the ball rolling. I know that this is one of the biggest challenges for me is to think about my next move. I'm always so impulsive. Maybe that's a good thing that I didn't make another podcast. Sometimes I have to think about what am I going to really talk about. My life could be interesting, right? On the daily, I may have a lot of things going on. At the end of the day, nobody cares about my life, even though it's AB's World. And the inspiring part about my podcast, in my opinion, is that there's this 30-year-old young man out there that lives in New York City and has a lot of hidden talents and is working tremendously to go to the next level because that's what he wants. And he wants to share that with the world and say, hey, look, this is what's happening. I share a lot about, my ADHD and my, neurological condition that I have. and that shouldn't let nothing should let anyone stop you. Like if you have a voice, use it. Use it. Start speaking to people, networking with people. Stop, being shy and put the word out there. I'm not really blowing up like I would like to on social media. I see a lot of guys, that have so many followers, and I really don't have many followers. But you know what? I'm glad that I'm authentic because nobody's really talking about, you know, what ADHD is. They're not really talking about uh, the intimidation of living in a big city. It could be lonely, it could be dark, it can be exciting. There's so much life out here in New York City. Listen, New York City has a lot of pros and cons. It's like no other city in the world. Shout out to everyone listening to me in Ukraine, South Africa, Bangladesh, Germany. Thank you guys for listening to me from the UK, Australia, New Zealand. Thank you guys, South Africa. You guys are amazing for listening to me. I hope that I add some inspiration and I add some sort of something that makes sense. A content that will add some, not just value, but a lesson in my podcast where you can actually learn what I'm saying and hopefully it will help you in real life because I'm not here to be perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm not perfect. And I talk a lot about my flaws in my podcast, right? I said I don't have like an editor right now. I don't have an intro. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about is trial and error. At least I'm still talking. At least I'm still creating. At least I'm still here, right? And it's amazing. Even a few people listening from overseas is a tremendous impact for me. And that means a lot because that means that I obviously have some sort of effect on somebody's life, hopefully for the better. So I just wanted to let everyone know apartment hunting in New York City in the summer is a terrible time to find an apartment. It is super, super, super expensive, and it's just the real estate market right now is crazy. Everybody wants to be in New York City in the summer, and a lot of people are also leaving New York City in the summer. So, as a realtor myself, I know the challenges that come with finding an apartment in the summer. I did it 2 years ago, and I'm in the process of doing it again now. So, everyone that is in need of an apartment in New York City, you guys have to have patience. You gotta have patience. You gotta just do your due diligence. A lot of scamming going on, and you guys hit me up. You guys have my Instagram. It's AB's World 718. I'll take questions. You guys have my email, powermindsunite718 at gmail.com. You guys know that I also speak about ADHD and the brain aspect of it. There's so many different parts of the brain. What it's capable of doing is crazy, right? ADHD is a chemical imbalance where it's just, you just keep going, 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 going. So much dopamine, so much enthusiasm, so much passion. It's always on. Something is always going on. You don't know how to you don't know how to take a chill pill. That's really what it is. Living in a fast-paced world in your brain. It's like, yeah, I sleep. Sometimes I sleep during the day. Sometimes people call me lazy, like you ain't doing nothing. And I'm like, I do a lot. But at the same time, I don't do anything. So it really depends how you ask. I know what I am doing, getting money and trying to figure this shit out when it comes to going to the next level. Like there's a lot that you have to do. You can't just do it one time and that's it, it's over. There has to be a consistent basis. You know, this is the thing, people settle too early. And that's what happened to me. I settled too early on many different things. That is part of self sabotage. Don't settle. If it's not working today, keep going at it. Don't just give up because it didn't work out for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months. You know, I tell my friends, because they ask me, did you sell anything? Did you sell anything? I'm like, no, I didn't sell anything. First of all, I didn't do my due diligence, right? I never even advertised to the whole world, hey, I'm Abraham from New York City. I do real estate. I work for real. Yada, yada, yada. I never even did any of that. I never fully advertised. I never went on social media. I never went to real estate events. I didn't do anything because I just been so preoccupied with, hey, I want to move right now. To me, that's more important than focusing on a real estate career, which I know will always be there for me no matter what. I don't care how bad the market is. I found a great opportunity and I'm going to take the opportunity. And that is my focus right now. And focusing on my job that literally takes all of my energy mentally and physically. I hope that one day in the next year or so, I'm able to quit. I'm able to do my podcast full time. I'm able to go to the gym, martial arts, do the real estate thing, and hopefully I'm able to start an ADHD coaching business where I'm actually able to help people that cannot see the future. Because nobody could predict the future, but you can see your future by the steps and the mission you're on right now. Like, literally, every decision you make will lead to your future. Nobody's ever going to go and tell you that. And everybody's like, oh, do what you think is right. Sometimes you don't know what's right. You really have to be in the moment and just make the decision like that. And sometimes that's the good thing about being having ADHD. You make a decision like boom, like that. Like 2 days ago, I made a decision like this. Boom. Somebody tried to sell me a cell phone from AT&T. I'm like, I'm not interested in being in a 2-year contract again. No. Like automatically, I dismissed that person. And you know, salespeople are great. You know, they're hustlers. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, don't try too hard. You know, simply just be calm, cool, collective. You know, smile a little bit, and your personality will attract people to like you and enjoy you and want to be around you. And that's more important to me than money, is having that presence of knowing that because I'm here, I'm able to make a difference. You know, music always inspired me to keep going, right? Working out inspires me to keep going. You know, I have severe allergies today. I'm still going. I'm exhausted every single day, even when I'm not working, because knowing that I have to go to a 9 to 5 job is exhausting. Knowing that I have to be there at 4:30 in the morning is exhausting, right? So we have to train our brains and become owners. Hey, look, I own the job because I'm there at 4:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning. We literally have to treat our job like a business and then quit. We got to take ourselves serious, not the job, because everyone and anyone could be replaceable. And you know, it's 2025. We have so much modern day technology besides AI that's coming to replace all these 9 to 5 jobs that, you know, is kind of dead end. You also have YouTube, where you could just go on YouTube and learn anything. You know, it's literally a college, YouTube University, and you can literally start a business, promote yourself. You can start a channel, which I did. You can literally do pretty much anything on YouTube. You can watch videos. You can upload videos. You can do shorts. It's really amazing how far the world has come to technology. Everyone should take that to account. Listen, if you are not willing to adapt and invest in some technology and realize, because I didn't even do that yet, by the way. I'm still like learning the program. I'm still very, very behind when it comes to technology, but we have to understand technology could make the world connect by computers. It's like literally doing the work for us, which I don't like. I like to use my brain and to solve my own problem by actually looking at it and visualizing what the problem is and then come up with a strategy that makes sense to solve the problem. That's me. I'm old school when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm kind of an old school guy when it comes to, you know, human interaction, right? I like seeing my friends face to face. People are socially awkward, you know, in today's modern day world. I'm a people's person, right? You see me. What's going on? What's up? It's Thursday, June 19th. You understand? People are hustling out there. People are making shit happen, and people are not. People are never really going to really change. You got to change. It's easy to change ourselves than to change somebody else, right? Also, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's important to me. So I'm going to switch the topic now. I think that whoever has been living at the same city, town since birth, I really think that it is important to, leave your city and town and come back. Um, I've watched some videos about the psychology aspect where you can actually learn a few things once you leave your city and your town. I have just wanted to say though, think about why you're actually leaving your city and town. Don't just pick up and leave because you're not happy in, I don't know, somewhere in Brooklyn or wherever you guys are from, right? Because people are always going to be bitter and racist wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? And it just really concerns me that sometimes, I kind of feel like maybe I won't ever explore another place besides New York City because, not because I really can't, it's just like, not that I got too comfortable in New York City. It's not even that. A few people were telling me back in the day, you're never going to really leave New York. You know, at the end of the day, New York has all types of people. We are literally probably one of the most diverse cities in the world and have the most millionaires. There's no reason really for me to leave New York City. Like, obviously, I'll get like a second home. It's just that New York is always going to be home to so many legends and OGs out there that actually made it happen. People actually came from nothing. People literally came to New York and literally didn't even have a dollar and they made it happen. So, to me, that inspires me to keep going. Let's not allow our environment to defeat our energy, right? Because there's toxic people everywhere. Demons are real. People are going to be bitter. People are going to be racist. The devil is real. We have to literally, literally believe that we are able to achieve more than what we're currently doing. You got to believe that you have the most powerful brain in the world and that it needs to work at the times when you put it to work. But if you're not working, you're just not doing anything, you're just chilling. You just gotta work your brain, right? And it's very difficult for people with ADHD to have their brain working sometimes. I should really be doing my podcast earlier. It's now 9:35 Eastern Time in New York. So I think that I have to start changing my routine. My routine has been trash for so long. My sleep hasn't been great, and I kind of feel maybe that's kind of affecting my performance and my money. So that's another thing that I take to consideration is sleep, energy, and the amazing environment like nature. Like now it's the summertime, so I'll be in Jersey Shore every weekend for the summer. I'm so excited to actually go to the beach and just have a great summer and hopefully get my apartment and move on with certain things within my job and start dating again. Guys, these are, and start a martial arts class, Jitsu and Muay Thai. I think martial arts is very important. I think everybody should learn how to defend themselves, and it teaches discipline. It teaches how to stick to a routine. It teaches you how to be strong, and it teaches you how to be confident in the room. And that's why I think it's important for me and everyone else in my age to um, join a martial arts. You know, working at the post office, I don't really have hobbies. I sleep a lot. I walk around. I do my nightly walks, my evening walks. I do my AM walks. I go to the botanical garden. I eat lunch by myself or breakfast. I chill around Brooklyn. I'm here to sell real estate. I also work at my day job. I sit at the post office. I have my YouTube channel, my podcast, and I want to start dating soon, and I'm about to start another project before the summer's over. So it may seem like I have a lot. At the end of the day, I need to utilize what I have, and I have not. That's why I think it's important to focus on one thing at a time, which could be really difficult for somebody that's neurodivergent and always on the go like this, constantly asking questions and having, a mind of a child, which, could be a good thing or it could be an awful thing. Just depends on who you ask. I always ask questions. I always like to see where the conversation will lead me to. I always question a lot of things. I always question people's intentions, like what happened, why did you do that? You gotta question. One of the most important things that I learned this year is that a lot of people are gonna try to ruin your reputation, talk a whole bunch of shit about you, not know anything about you, and bring you down. I had an experience where I was, treated really badly by my landlord and also at work. Like, I don't understand why, people treat me different than everybody else. I always try to have a very positive and upbeat attitude, right? And I'm starting to think that I'm not really the problem. Obviously, I'm not a victim. I'm starting to think that a lot of these situations are communication based, right? I think that relationships are very weird. People are strange. I was just meeting with one of my guys today, one of my boys, and he told me something about confronting people and asking questions. Sometimes people are so afraid to confront somebody and ask them. That's not, you know, being an asshole. You have to ask. That's how you can avoid rumors that he said, she said, right? You got to take your bias aside and you got to just question it. And sometimes it can be really difficult because the community that you were raised and living at could also bring you down. People don't really understand that, right? Yes, I don't usually let my emotions get to me. People are always going to talk shit. I understand. People talk shit about me all the time. People are always going to knock me down and they're always going to question why this, why that. And I'm not here to entertain anybody. However, I have boundaries. As a man, I won't let anyone disrespect me. Okay? I will be respected at all times. I put my foot down when I need to put it down. Okay? I'm not going to let anyone step on me and take me for a nice ride because I'm this short, naive man from Brooklyn who doesn't know anything about the real world, which is not true. I'm starting to understand how the real world works. Okay? I'm not naive. I'm not slow. I'm not stupid. I'm none of those things. I'm just not going to take shit. I'm not. And nobody should take shit from anybody. I understand when it comes to family relationships, and then I could talk to you guys about what happened with my landlord, okay? I want everybody to understand if you have a wife, a girlfriend, a mother, a boyfriend, a father, an uncle, I'm talking about family right now, and you love them, and you're an adult, and you love your mother or you love this person, have boundaries. Same goes for them. We need boundaries, or it's going to be chaos, okay? And then you're going to let people step on you, and then you're going to be miserable. Have boundaries. When something is not right, you put your foot down. Confront them about the situation. We have to put our foot down, okay? We have to set boundaries. Now, May 18th, okay, you get a notice on the, I got a knock on the door that I need to be out by June 1st, and, something led up to that. I will not really be speaking about that situation. I'm just saying he gave me 2 weeks notice, and I took him to court, and the whole thing was just ridiculous because she literally tried to take advantage of me, and I didn't let it happen. I basically just told him, you know, 2 weeks notice finding an apartment in New York City is kind of, you know, unrealistic, if you know what I mean. People have these unrealistic expectations that don't even make sense. People put things into their head and they go around telling other people, yeah, this makes sense, yada yada. And I do that too, by the way. By the way, I wanted to tell you guys something. Whatever I say, I also do it sometimes because I'm not perfect. I don't want to be condescending or hypocritical. I just wanted to say this is how you learn though. You gotta learn from your past. You gotta learn to let go of the past and realize, look, the past is a failure, right? Yeah, I failed so many times. I failed in school. I failed many, many different exams. I failed academics. I failed a lot of friendships. I failed a lot of relationships. I failed so many. I failed in my finances and investing. I failed in different career opportunities. I failed in managing um, girlfriends, and people are going to be like, "Oh, this guy, that is so sad. He never slept with a woman," or you know. I really think that when homies be out and about and they be talking about girls, people really need to stop judging. Okay, people have to stop questioning why they do this, why do they do that. If it doesn't have anything to do with you, mind your own business. Because that's the choice that they made. People make choices on what they think is right and their values and beliefs, right? What I choose to do with my own personal life is my business. Like, I'm not married right now, right? Most of the people in my community are married. Do I want to get married? Of course. Of course, I want to get married. I want to find a wife and I want to build with her. Because I know that if I find the perfect woman, I will become rich. Which I'm already becoming rich right now. I know for a fact that a good woman is hard to build with. But a lazy and a poor man is even harder to change because that's the mindset he has. So let's all really take everything to consideration and not judge a man because he's single or he never slept with a woman. Maybe he's just not interested right now and he's just trying to build his wealth and find a place in this world where he fits and he belongs. This is what modern day society has become. It's become sex, love, frauds, manipulation, you know, fake friendships. This is all crazy. People are fake. They don't like to confront people. They don't like to express what's going on. And then, when, they let it all out, something happens. And I'm not the guy that, takes his life so seriously. I joke around. Well, I should really take my life more seriously because I want more money. And I manifested, having a car and a whole bunch of other things that can be useful for me to live a nice, peaceful life in the modern day world. At the end of the day, in order to realize nobody really fits in society. Society just has that same cycle, you know, go to work, 9 to 5, use typical banking. The whole entire old school mentality is going to crash. Okay, that whole banking system. Now it's all digital, Bitcoin, um, cryptocurrency. Listen, I'm for all of this. I just want to say I'm for modern day technology. I'm not going to necessarily say that I love it because I'm more like an old school guy. I love the human interaction, right? I love going to the park playing basketball. I love riding my bike. But I'm gonna say, hey, look, I miss my iPod Nano, or the CD players, or the cool shoes from back in the day, the Converse. I'm not gonna lie, I miss the pizza from back in the day. Pizza's still good. Listen, I'm being honest. I miss the old shows, but we're not in the '90s anymore, right? But fashion will always come back. Just to let you guys know, just because a trend is over, that doesn't mean it's not gonna come back. Okay, we all know that '90s is over, early 2000s is over. It's just we're heading to different times. The world is changing. People are not ready to accept that. People are not willing to adapt, and then they stay stuck and they play victim, and then they miss out on all the crazy, magnificent, magical opportunities that the world has to offer. That being said, I still have old school values. I still believe, as a man, that you have to respect your parents. You got to respect your elders. You got to go visit your grandparents. You got to call your grandfather. You got to help out your aunt. You got to be there for your sisters. You got to just be a good older brother. Be an example of who they want to respect and follow. I believe that. I believe in old school traditional values. And a lot of people go, oh, that's not old school values. Oh, yes, it is. Because most men are not family men today. Most men are, just, I'm not saying all, just not utilizing their tools. They could be just doing, you know, some goofy stuff. And They get themselves into some situation. You just gotta. I'm not saying to always agree with your family on anything, because I don't agree with my family on most things. Just be there. Show your face at parties, right? Go to your grandparents. You know how many people wish they had grandparents? Just cherish the moments. This is literally the point that I'm trying to make. It's these little things that will make a big impact in your life. Nobody wants to go get dressed, go to this party. Everybody just wants to, just chill, have some cool block parties in the summer. Nobody really wants to go dressing up and seeing their grandparents. And, people just want to be young, which is fine. At the end of the day, you got to do what works for you. I'm not judging anybody here, just making a point that this is what it is. Just stick together. Stick together. You can learn something from your grandparents, even though old people have a whole different perception of life, right? I want to thank you guys for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith Over Fear. More is to come. Thank you, my viewers. Have a great, great day, night, wherever you guys are. Peace out for now.